Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. What if one of the world's biggest powers was secretly fueling another nation's missile ambitions, not with weapons, but with trade, technology, and silence? New reports suggest Beijing's hidden hand could be powering Iran's next-generation missiles, a move that might reshape global power from West Asia to Washington. Stay tuned, because what we uncover today may redefine China's role in the global arms race. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this investigation, we expose how Beijing's growing partnership with Tehran might be far more than just economics. Over the last year, multiple intelligence reports have revealed that Chinese firms are quietly supplying Iran with key materials that can be used to manufacture solid fuel ballistic missiles. These materials, such as sodium perchlorate and advanced carbon composites, are not weapons themselves, but they form the foundation for long-range missile propellants. Western analysts say these shipments could drastically shorten Iran's development timeline for new missile variants. China, however, denies any wrongdoing, claiming the exports are dual-use chemicals meant for civilian industries. But the timing tells another story. With tensions soaring in the Middle East and sanctions tightening, Iran's sudden progress in missile testing raises critical questions. How did it advance so quickly under embargo? In this episode, we connect the dots between secret trade routes, Chinese chemical exports, and Iran's ambitious military goals. Let's begin by tracing how this cooperation began decades ago, long before anyone noticed. To understand China and Iran's current partnership, we must look back to the 1980s, following the Islamic Revolution. Iran was cut off from Western arms suppliers. Facing isolation, Tehran turned to alternative partners, and China saw opportunity. Beijing began supplying anti-ship missiles, rocket parts, and manufacturing blueprints. Iran learned fast. Systems like the Noor missile were heavily based on Chinese C-802 technology. Over time, this relationship expanded beyond arms sales. Chinese engineers shared industrial know-how from metallurgy to fuel chemistry. For Beijing, Iran was a valuable ally, a foothold in a region dominated by American influence. The cooperation deepened under economic agreements like the 25-year strategic partnership signed in 2021. It promised energy trade, infrastructure projects, and yes, technology exchange. But beneath official deals, intelligence reports hint at an unspoken arrangement, a silent technological alliance. As China rose to global power status, Iran became its experimental partner for low-visibility defense technology. This connection is not new. It's simply entering a more advanced, more covert phase. Coming up next, we'll uncover the recent leaks that prove this secret cooperation has evolved into something far more dangerous and far more strategic. In early 2025, the world got a glimpse into this hidden network. Western intelligence agencies tracked multiple shipments leaving Chinese ports, labeled as industrial chemicals. Inside those containers, according to leaked manifests, was sodium perchlorate, the oxidizer used in solid rocket propellants. One report revealed that just one shipment, around 1,000 tons, could fuel hundreds of medium-range ballistic missiles. When the news broke, global outlets like the Financial Times and Hudson Institute confirmed Chinese origin materials had reached Iranian soil. The U.S. Treasury swiftly sanctioned 6 Chinese companies for aiding Iran's missile program. China's foreign ministry denied the allegations, insisting exports were civilian, yet satellite imagery told a different story. Within months, Iran conducted new missile tests with improved range and precision. Coincidence? Analysts think not. The pattern suggested coordinated technological support, not isolated trade. These revelations forced global policymakers to ask, is China quietly becoming Iran's invisible weapons lab? In the next section, we'll break down the evidence, the specific materials, technology, and trade routes that make this cooperation possible, despite sanctions and surveillance. So, what exactly is China sending? The core lies in dual-use materials, chemicals and components that have both civilian and military applications. Sodium perchlorate, for instance, can be used for fireworks, but it's also a crucial ingredient in solid fuel missiles. Once processed into ammonium perchlorate, it becomes the oxidizer that propels rockets thousands of kilometers. Other reports cite electronic guidance systems, high-tolerance valves, and carbon fiber, all materials linked to missile manufacturing. Analysts estimate that the 2025 shipments alone could supply enough oxidizer for over 250 missiles. It's a subtle yet powerful form of support. China doesn't export missiles, it exports the means to make them. Western intelligence suggests some of these trades were disguised through front companies in Hong Kong or routed via the Gulf to mask their origin. For Beijing, it's a low-risk, high-influence strategy. They gain leverage in the Middle East, help an ally, and maintain plausible deniability. The question is, what does China gain in return? In the next section, we uncover Beijing's hidden motives behind fueling Iran's missile resurgence. Why would China risk global scrutiny for Iran's missile program? The answer lies in power politics. Beijing sees Tehran as a strategic partner in a US-dominated region, By quietly supporting Iran, China gains influence in the Gulf, access to cheap oil, and leverage in international negotiations. The cooperation also fits into Beijing's broader Belt and Road vision, securing trade routes across Asia while undermining American sanctions. Iran, under heavy restrictions, provides a test bed for Chinese technology, a live experiment under real geopolitical stress. Moreover, as the U.S. tightens export bans on Chinese defense industries, Beijing seeks to expand its footprint through shadow partnerships. The Iran link allows China to project power indirectly without open confrontation. But this alliance also comes with risks, sanctions, diplomatic backlash, and potential exposure. Yet for Beijing, the payoff outweighs the pressure influence over West Asia's most unpredictable player. In the next section, we'll see how the world, especially Israel and the U.S., is reacting to these developments and why they see it as a threat to regional stability. The revelations about China's involvement in Iran's missile development have set off alarm bells in Washington and Tel Aviv. American defense officials have described it as a strategic nightmare. For the U.S., this cooperation threatens not only Middle Eastern allies but also the global sanctions system itself. Israel, already on high alert after Iran's recent tests, views the China-Iran link as a red line. In Jerusalem, analysts warn that Iran's enhanced missile range could soon cover the entire Mediterranean. The U.S. responded by imposing new sanctions on both Iranian and Chinese entities, calling the alliance a shadow arms race. Behind closed doors, however, intelligence officials admit enforcement is nearly impossible. The trade is too indirect, the evidence too subtle. China continues to deny involvement, framing itself as a neutral trading partner. But satellite evidence and intercepted communications tell another story, one of coordinated cooperation between Chinese suppliers and Iranian defense engineers. As the tension grows, many wonder, will the West act, or simply watch as a new missile superpower quietly rises in the East? Next, we examine how Iran's new missile capabilities could shift the region's military balance and why time might be running out for diplomacy. In 2025, Iran unveiled its latest missile, the Kabar-2, capable of hitting targets more than 2,000 kilometers away with pinpoint accuracy. This advancement stunned military analysts. The question was, how did Iran make such a leap under sanctions? The answer, experts say, lies in its access to advanced materials and digital components from abroad. Leaked photos from Iranian test sites reveal guidance systems resembling Chinese designs, along with fuel casings consistent with Chinese-made composites. The improvement isn't just range, it's precision, stability, and mobility. These missiles can now be launched from mobile platforms, making them harder to track or intercept. Western intelligence believes these advances push Iran closer to strategic deterrence, the ability to threaten distant adversaries without nuclear warheads. That prospect changes the entire power dynamic in the Middle East. From Saudi Arabia to Israel, regional actors are reassessing their defense postures. For Tehran, it's a message of defiance. Iran is no longer technologically isolated. In the next section, we'll explore how China uses this success story to challenge American dominance without firing a single shot. For Beijing, Iran's missile success serves a bigger purpose, symbolism. It's proof that China's technology, resources, and partnerships can empower nations under Western pressure. By helping Iran indirectly, China sends a message: there's another path to power. The geopolitical implications are massive. Developing nations watching this unfold see China not just as a trade partner, but as an alternative system, one that can resist American sanctions and still grow militarily. Analysts say this is part of China's strategic ambiguity, model influencing outcomes without overt confrontation. It boosts China's standing among anti-Western blocs and reinforces its presence in the Middle East, a region traditionally shaped by U.S. influence. Beijing also secures access to oil and rare resources from Iran at discounted rates, strengthening its energy security. For the West, this cooperation represents a new era of indirect confrontation, where power isn't measured by armies, but by influence networks and technological pipelines. As this shadow rivalry expands, the world edges closer to a silent Cold War 2.0, fought not with bombs, but with blueprints. Next, we'll analyze what could happen if this partnership escalates unchecked. If China and Iran continue deepening this cooperation, the global balance could shift dramatically. U.S. intelligence agencies warn that future Iranian missiles, built with imported technology, could reach European territories. That would trigger a new wave of sanctions and countermeasures, potentially pulling China into direct diplomatic conflict with NATO powers. In the Middle East, rivals like Saudi Arabia might respond by seeking similar partnerships, possibly with Russia or even North Korea. A chain reaction could follow, leading to a regional arms race. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens could face rising fuel costs, market instability, and security uncertainty. Experts say the only way to prevent escalation is transparent diplomacy. Yet, with secret trade networks and silent political deals, transparency seems unlikely. What we are witnessing is not just a military partnership, it's a geopolitical test. Can global powers prevent technology from fueling new conflict zones? Or are we witnessing the birth of a new missile age shaped by secrecy, strategy, and survival? As we conclude, one thing is clear, the China-ARM partnership is reshaping global power in slow motion. From chemical exports to covert tech transfers, every piece fits into a puzzle of influence. Whether this is cooperation or confrontation depends on perspective. For Iran, it's survival and progress. For China, it's strategy and leverage. And for the West, it's a warning that sanctions alone can no longer contain ambition. The coming months will reveal how far this partnership can go and how the world chooses to respond. If you found this analysis eye-opening, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because in our next episode, we'll explore how Russia fits into this same shadow network and what that means for the future of global security. Until then, stay informed, stay curious, and stay tuned. This is the West Asia Post.